Hello, my name is John Guinevere. I've been collecting art for, 45 years. I bought my first piece of art at 10. And there's so much to know about art. I've learned that I know absolutely nothing about art. But what little I do know about art, I want to maybe share with you. So if you're out buying prints, you'll know the difference between the different types of prints that are out there. So one term you might have heard is lithography. So I'm going to start with lithography. Lithography, in the older days, they would take a piece of limestone like this. This is an actual lithograph. And the artist puts the art on the stone. Then they roll it with ink and turn it over on a piece of paper, and they put a bunch of pressure on it. And then that makes the art transfer onto the paper. And usually they sand these down and then put another piece of art on it, but I was lucky enough to obtain this one, so it's part of my collection. Anyway, so this is also a lithograph, and so what the artist would do is the same process. This might have been done a little more recently and a little differently. Not as many people use stones. There's other materials that you can use for a lithograph. So that sort of covers lithograph. So this print, you might see it as a poster or an offset lithograph. Offset lithograph pretty much means a mechanical print that was put through a printer press. And the easiest way to tell if something's been put through a printer press is take a loop or a magnifying glass, and you'll see this has little tiny dots that make up the whole. Maybe Ocean can take a photo of that later and we'll add it so you guys can see. But so you'll see this as a poster or a print. Now there are differences in digital prints or in a mechanical print, which is how tiny the dots are, how close together they are. So the higher quality of the print, the smaller, the better the dots. But the thing to think about on a print is they can print 100, they can print 100,000. So it's unusual for them to be rare, although some things like posters, like an Andy Warhol poster from, say, a art gallery in London, that's 20 years old, that might have value because they did only make a certain amount of those. So this is what's called a wood block print. So it's a very similar process to the stone, that they carve the different aspects of the art on wood and then do layers of paint on top of it. Now, another thing you'll see often with an actual print like a lithograph or an etching is you'll see maybe the name of it. This is the violinist, 17 out of 75. That means they printed 75 of them, and then the signature. And this artist was great. She put the year as well. So woodblock prints, and this is usually a sign that you have something limited, although I've seen plenty of fakes as well. So if you see a Picasso with that does not mean it's a real Picasso, right? Okay, this is a serigraph, or also known as a screen print. And the name screen print actually comes from the way it's produced, because they have a bunch of different screens for each part of the art. So let's say the green part was this screen, so they put some ink through that. And the neat thing about serigraphs or screen prints is they're a lot like lithographs, that everyone's a little bit different. Because each one's handmade, each one's made individually. Unfortunately, this one is not signed by Andy Warhol, so it's worth about $1,500. If it was signed by Andy Warhol, probably like $45,000. So signatures can be very helpful in the art world. So I've got one more piece of art I want to show you. So what this is an etching. So what the artist did is put the actual artwork on a piece of copper. They etched it in with different tools. They might do cross hatch stitching or hatch markings all the way through it. And then they take the plate and they put some paper under it, really nice high quality paper, and then maybe a piece of something spongy, and they roll it through a printer, and the rollers push the plate down into the paper, and it's hard to see. You might if you got close, but you can see actually the dent in the paper. And one of the reasons I love etchings is I'm pretty sure they're really difficult to replicate, because no matter what, you have to get it onto a plate, the artwork, and then also a good signature is helpful. So if you're contemplating buying a higher piece of art and it's etching, the signature is going to have a ton of meaning, because very often, famous artists are forged. So I hope that was helpful. That's pretty much all I can share with you as far as prints, but I hope it was educational, and you'll find some great finds at the garage sale. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Dogs Red Wine. Thank you.
Do you like art?